Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing today? I hope everybody had an absolutely amazing day. Appreciate you all for joining us tonight for another elevated conversation here on YouTube, Conversations with Ken. Tonight, we're going to have another amazing conversation with an amazing young lady that has a great story to share with us. Hopefully, by the end of this call, once again, you guys will be encouraged to go out and do absolutely amazing things. So, before we get going, let's go ahead and take care of the housekeeping. Number one, if you have not already done so, hit the subscribe button. Should be somewhere around here, there, or wherever you see it at. Also, go ahead and hit a like for the YouTube algorithm so that more people can see this conversation. And then, last but not least, if you know anyone that can benefit from this information, go ahead and hit the share button so that they can have access to this information and they can become a part of the family. So, let's go ahead and get this elevated conversation started. All right, you guys saw the thumbnail. You see who I am talking to. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest to the stage. There she is. How are you, lady?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Doing great, man. Not too bad for, I think today, Tuesday. And today, Tuesday.
Can never keep a track of it.
I promise.
Tuesday.
so, so look, like I told you before we got going, I did not want to butcher your name because I have been known I've been known to butcher a name or two. So let everybody know the correct pronunciation of your name in the original because I thought it was a pretty cool story.
My name is Celia Johnson. Formerly Celia Sampson. However, my mom named me after her best friend over in Germany. My dad was in the army. Her friend's name was Cecilia, and she named me the short version. I'm literally short too.
What do you call short?
Oh, I'm 4'11".
Yeah, you are short. I won't call it short. We'll just call it vertically challenged.
Yeah, I could probably get a disability check for it, huh?
She called her height a disability. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
If my arms were a little bit shorter, then yeah.
So look, guys, once again, before we get into this amazing conversation, look, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, man. This is what we do every Tuesday and every Thursday. We're either having a conversation with entrepreneurs and movers and shakers in the community, or we're having panel discussions about controversial topics that adults need to start talking about. I always say this, and people say I'm being rude when I say it, but if you were to get an adult and have an adult to write a conversation down, get a kid, have a kid to write a conversation down, take out the big vocabulary and add no names to it, most times now you can't tell the difference. So this whole channel is put together so that we can highlight amazing people. and that we can begin having intelligent, mature, adult conversations that actually elevate our conversation. So, uh, this is why I have this young lady here tonight so that we can show you guys that even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of world turmoil, chaos, that there are still people in this world that are absolutely winning, that are doing great things. And we're going to keep bringing those types of people to you. So let's get into this elevated conversation if I can get my situation here. So, look, I always start with intros. So, where are you from originally?
So I was born in a little town called Bogalusa, Louisiana.
I know where Bogalusa is.
hmm Home of the paper mill, home of the lumberjacks, Bogalusa High School. Um, I graduated in 2004. Um, I don't know. It's, a little bit by Covington,
Mm-hmm.
Mandeville, and then if you go in the opposite way, you'll catch Columbia, Mississippi, Tylertown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm from there. When I graduated high school, I went to University of New Orleans.
Okay.
Uh, Became pregnant with my oldest daughter and migrated to the Baton Rouge area where resided in Denham Springs. So
Okay.
that's how I became familiar with Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I know where Bogalusa is. I actually had a good friend of mine that used to live in Franklinton.
Ooh,
Yeah, so I know a little bit about out that way.
okay,
A couple of my good friends are from Amy, so
okay,
I
okay.
know about that I-55 corridor over there. Plus, I'm a Mississippi native. I'm from Woodville, Mississippi, but we used to uh we used to play ball in Columbia and Tylertown, so I know that area pretty well.
Yeah, my family is from Prentice, Mississippi.
Oh
My
yeah.
dad is my dad's side. He's actually buried in Prentice, Mississippi.
Yeah, I know exactly where Prentice is up in Jefferson
Mhm.
Davis County.
That's it.
Yeah, I know them. We used to play them in football, man, back when we were in school, and they used to literally beat the living heck out of us. God, those are some big dudes.
Yes.
But I know exactly where you're talking about. So from Bogalusa, school in New
hmm
Orleans, eventually migrated to the Baton Rouge metropolitan area. So, what did you major in college?
I initially wanted to be a pharmacist. I went into biology pre med to start off with. I did my prerequisites, and then I knew that I enjoyed business. Um, so I changed my major to business administration, and
Okay.
I wanted to focus more of the human resources side. So, yeah.
It's funny that there are. I'm gonna check the statistics on that. How many people actually go to school and the first thing that they major in, they actually stay in that major all the way
Mhm.
through, find a job in that career area, and then just do the whole happily ever after. I bet that statistic would be pretty low.
For sure, because you're really not given the specifics on the college that would actually leverage you to, complete in a way that you're not having to transition to another school and, apply to get in another program. So, all of that good stuff.
And even in high school, no slack at the counselors, but I don't even think a lot of high school counselors are equipped to give kids that individual attention to let them know, what different schools offer and things like that. Most of the counselors that I knew, hopefully none of them are watching, but they were always biased to the school that they attended, especially if they attended an HBCU. So,
Yeah,
like in our area, you know, they had catalogs. They probably don't have catalogs anymore, but when we were in school, they had the catalogs that gave you the curriculum for the schools and stuff.
yeah.
And I mean, you were pushed heavily to go to Alcorn because most people from our area went to Alcorn.
That's
You
so
know,
true.
yeah. So I
My
mean,
mom.
yeah, most of the counselors, they have a definite bias when it comes to where you should go to school, and the bias usually revolves around where they went to school.
Yep, definitely.
So when did you first come up with the idea that, hey, I think I want to do beauty school instead of everything else that I thought about doing since I've been in school?
Let me tell you. So it was never a part of my plan. Okay.
Wow.
Um, Beauty school, the beauty industry, period, was a family trade. I did my friend's hair in high school, loved makeup, always loved trendy, fashionable things. My grandmother, who raised me, um, has a salon on the front of the home. So I was kind of like this beauty shop baby. And what I do know to be true is that when I became a mother myself, I found that it was one of the simplest ways to be able to take care of my child. And I don't know, I just walked into Aveda Institute, toured it, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go for it. Everything went through. I enrolled, and here I am serving
So
in
of
leadership.
all the beauty schools, well, I'll assume that there are other beauty schools in
Oh
the
yeah.
area that you could have attended. What was it that made you decide that you wanted to go to this particular school?
So I'm intrigued by aesthetics. I love atmosphere. And when I walked in, it just felt like the elevated version of what my grandmother probably desired to offer. And of course, the neighborhood beautician is more like a not lowballing, but she's not considered a heavy business woman. She's really just serving the customers and
Hmm.
clients. And I knew that they had a background of the business aspect. So I was just intrigued by the students, the retail area, the setup of the location. It was just everything.
Yeah, even the building itself.
Hmm.
I know the one here in Baton Rouge, and I've seen a few others just in passing. Even the building itself, it has that look of academia. It looks like a pristine location. And
Yeah,
as I began to prep for our interview, I went to some of the websites and looking inside of the place. I mean, it doesn't look like any beauty shop or any barber shop that I've ever been in. I mean, it's definitely an upscaled environment.
definitely. And then the background story about the founder, Horst. Horst taught more from a holistic perspective. His mom became ill. He wanted to find a cure for it, so he went more of the plant based
Hmm.
things. Yeah, the background was just massive. So our mission, everything that the company stood for, just really stood out to me.
Nice. See, I got to look into that part of it because I didn't really look into the origins of the company. And I guess a lot of times you can find out a lot about the actual mission of the business, which makes a lot of the things that they do make more sense when you go into find what the origins of it is. So you're just giving me homework to go and check out what the origins of the company are. Um,
Listen, we have men's products, a lot of them, a lot, from skincare to hair care, everything.
yeah, I need to do something. I need to go to the barber shop. I don't look like nobody love me right now.
Look, I'm rocking a good old ponytail, so hey, make it cute.
Do a lot of men come there?
Man, you would be surprised. I've even, you know, barbering versus cosmetology is two different fields, especially in the state of Louisiana. We only have two different boards, which is Louisiana State Board of Cosmetology and then the barbering board. And the entity between the two is just massively different. There are certain things that barbers cannot do, and there are things that cosmetologists can and cannot do.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Interesting.
yep.
So before you got into your current position, what other type of I call them temporary jobs, training jobs. Type of training jobs did you have before you actually found your calling?
Oh man. After shoot, my first job was in high school. I worked at Wendy's. Everything that I did was customer service based. I worked at Wendy's. Then when I was at UNO, I worked at Foot Locker. And then
That's the
you,
hustle there.
yes, you wouldn't believe this, but I actually delivered mail for the United States Postal Service.
You
And
did little
it
truck.
was, I swear, it was one of the most refreshing jobs there is. My dad actually, when he retired from the Army, he went into working for the Postal Service,
Hmm.
which was something that I just wanted to try just to see, like, why would he do this, you know? And I was able to get in, and shoot, they call them back then TE carriers. And I delivered mail in New Orleans. Then I transitioned to the one in Bogalusa because the facility just needed extra carriers. And at that
Hmm.
time, I ain't changed my license over. So they were just like, oh, you from Bogalusa? They need carriers. And I'm like, okay, cool. Um, and leading up to that, once I did go to the Baton Rouge area, I worked. Um, Actually, I did payroll and benefits. Um, at EBR, the school system.
Hmm.
And then that's when I went to cosmetology school. And from my background in payroll, I was actually able to go and work at Aveda as a financial aid manager.
Nice.
So I transitioned to working for the company that I actually went to school at. And it was like a stepping stone to get my foot in the door because I knew eventually I wanted to go in education. But yeah, I mean, I was, they have an internship program for educators.
Hmm.
So I went into the internship program while owning my own salon at the same time. Um, I went into that program, and then you have to complete like 500 additional hours, go back to state board, take another exam. And then I worked so hard. Um, there was a coach position that came up. This person is the director's right hand. You over the curriculum for the institute, and my heart and my passion for just delivering the information to students and guests, it just set me up for success. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I just really enjoyed sharing the why behind healthy hair, or my students would call it, oh, Miss C can sell salt to a slug. So it was this thing where, you know how if you go and get a haircut, now they're adding like shampoos and stuff to the service.
Hmm.
Well, for me, I had this site. I love science. I'm a little geek, a little nerdy. So I can look at a strand of hair and just about tell you, hey, you're lacking a lot of moisture and hydration. We have this service that you can add on, and shoot, it just naturally flowed for me. And
That's that's cool as heck though, because you know how I kind of feel bad for calling them training jobs now because it's like every job that you had, it was some aspect of that job that prepared you for where you are. I mean, I
definitely.
worked in the mall. I know what Foot Locker about. You got to be a hustler at Foot Locker.
Man, no customer left alone. Yeah, everybody, you got to greet them as soon as they walk through the door. Go back into their inventory. You stepping on, and I'm short, you know. Sometimes I had to ask for help, so it's creating uh, you lessening your pride and saying, "Hey, I need some assistance." It just gave me a lot of perspective for where I am right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of because I have a retail background too. A lot of suggestive selling, as they call it, doing the add-ons. And I mean,
Yes,
in the industry you're in right now, those type of skills definitely come in handy because a lot of people come in and they have a definite idea of what type of service they want, but they don't
yep,
really know what they need. So the ability to be able to tell them what they need, do that add on, talk to them about the benefits of it, so where it doesn't come across as just salesy. I'm actually here trying to give you something that you really need. It
yeah.
all comes full circle.
It definitely did for me. And then just understanding that a person's facial profile, their face shape, the length and width of their neckline, this haircut is not going to look good on you. Please do not get, big curls if you have a round face because it's going to make your face look fatter. If you know, if you have hair out to here and your face is already round, you want to wear something more face slimming. So you want to go with a more straight style that you could wear every day. So it's
So,
deep for
so
me.
with a man, I mean, can you do all that with a man too?
Yes,
Like,
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Listen, so you don't want to go and get a boosie fade, if you already have elongated face because it makes it look longer. You got a little high rise right here, and then your chin already, it's not gonna work.
I know y'all not in that beautiful building giving boosie phase, huh?
Listen, we call barbers in all the time to come and give demos. So sometimes. But then we get some of the pompadour, which you see on in magazines and
Yeah.
on film sets. It's a lot of creative stuff.
I mean that's good, that y'all have a lot, a lot of diversity in there. It's not like you just cater toward one particular audience. So I mean that's great.
Yeah, it's exciting, and it gives um, those students that are trying to figure out what's their niche.
Hmm.
Can you work with different textures? And something that we've been able to do most recently with the company that I work for, which is Neil Corporation, we've actually been able to put into the state board licensure portion how to be more familiar with textured strands,
Nice.
African American strands. When I was in school, every every mannequin had straight hair
Hmm.
and looked like a Caucasian woman or man. So we weren't prepared. I knew because my grandmother, but many of my classmates had challenges with texture because we weren't taught that.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, that, if you guys are doing, you know, different types of cuts with different types of textures, that they actually leave that school with a skill set that you won't have if you just go to like a barber school or something like that. So they're able to go into different areas, cut different types of people hair. So I mean that's definitely a skill set that they don't get in a lot of places.
Yep. When COVID hit, the company massively sent every student. They integrated a texture curriculum into our storyboard, what we call like a syllabus. And then every student got textured mannequins to go into their kits to help them prepare and train a little bit deeper. We launched a texture coach program where I'm grateful to say that I was one of the first educators to get the opportunity to become a texture coach within the company. And it was just amazing to see it happen.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So with everything that you had going on, like, I mean, it's almost like it was just a natural process, though. I want to ask, when did you know that you wanted to become get into leadership? But it just seems like throughout the maturation of everything with the previous jobs and coming there and already having an HR background and having this background, that background, it was almost like it was just Like it was almost a natural progression. It was like you were there before you even realized you were there to some degree.
I had a student, and I think it's okay to call his name, but his name was Stephen Landry. He and his wife, they're out in the, I want to say, Prairieville area.
Okay.
And I was sharing some of my perspective while teaching. And he said, Miss C, you a shark in a fishbowl. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, you're too knowledgeable, and I know you could tell you love business. Why won't you intertwine the two? But see, one thing that people miss out on is that you have to show up as the leader every single day. You got to show up as that person before you even desire the title.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
a lot of people right now, they just want a title without the performance.
Right. Right.
And I think that's where we miss the mark with desiring a higher paycheck or a title to make us seem more important than we are. And in my upbringing, in a heavily religious and Christian home, it was like stewardship was the number one thing. So it did give me a sense of I'm giving back in a way of purpose to my students, to the business, because I believe in the mission. But it just naturally progressed because I showed up as the leader every day. No matter if my title were educator or director, I showed up as that person. I was the janitor. The janitor that we did have, I greeted him every day, asked him if he
Mm-hmm.
needed me to, sweep. And he's like, I got it, move. So it's really your core values
Yeah.
that while you're working in those roles to help you um, catapult to the next level. So
Yeah. Character matters, man. Character matters.
yeah,
Even when I was in retail, I would always tell my people that you prepare for the job you want, not the job that you have.
yes,
Even with your dress, you know what I'm saying? Like if the manager dressed one way, the customer service people dress another way. Like, look, come to work, take pride in your appearance, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. And I've always believed that, like, in our society, people always say that they don't care what nobody think about them.
duh,
But
they lying.
what yeah, first, yeah, definitely they're lying. But I've always said that the person that you don't know who's watching you could be
Mhm.
the person that changes your life for the rest of your life. So perception matters, first impressions matter. I don't care what certain people think about me, but
Right.
overall, I definitely care about my perception. I care about what people think about when they see me, the impression that I leave them with when I walk away. And I've had a lot of doors that open for me just
Yes.
because of that. I wasn't qualified. um I probably didn't know enough people to develop a network to get me in a lot of doors, but there were
Yes.
people who I made an impression on throughout my life that were in positions that they brought me there simply based on character and work ethic. So what people think about you absolutely matters, and I wish I'm doing a rant right now, but I really wish that we would get to a point in society where we would understand that, because now we live in this independent culture where
Hmm.
we feel like we don't need anybody.
You do
But
need people.
you've never seen a billionaire loner.
Not at all.
Just doesn't happen. You've never seen anybody who achieves an ultra successful life that will tell you that they did it by themselves. So you absolutely need people.
Definitely. Definitely.
So at what point did you say that you were ready for leadership though? I mean, I know, like I say, it was natural, but
It
I'm
was
sure that there was there
predestined.
was there was a turning point to where you said, I have the experience and I've done this and I've done that. I just think I wanna go ahead and take that leap of faith.
So, you know, sometimes we know that we want it before we actually, go after it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm guilty of the telling my my regional at that time when she brought me in as financial aid manager or um, as an educator intern. Hey, my ultimate goal. I'm so truthful. I'm like, my ultimate goal is to be a director one day. And she was like, okay, we'll see about that, you know? And I applied several times, but it was not the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that really sparked my just do it or just show up, continue after a few denials. Um, my current director, when I was educator coach, ended up going into maternity leave. COVID was happening. So the educator coach, the director, student care manager, retail manager, and partners were furloughed. So it was like, I'm a loner.
Everything on life support.
Yes. So I literally had to go into this role of coach slash director to be her, her her better half.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just did the work without knowing, shoot, I'm doing some director work right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And after everybody, I was literally being people's shoulder and their peace and their calm for the anxiety, the PTSD that was happening when COVID. People miss having family members to pass away, my partners, my students, all of that was happening, and God didn't allow me to really feel the weight of it. I was just, you know how you work so hard that you don't realize what you just worked through?
Mm-hmm.
He just gave me the capacity to serve in another dimension to where I was actually doing the role. So she returned, or my director was getting ready to return, and the position for director came up in Corpus. Granted, I was going through some hard life challenges, and I'm just like, I love Baton Rouge. I went to school here. I, but I've always seen myself growing out of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, I wanted to be in California, but it was like the perfect, it was just the perfect time. The right people saw. I wasn't trying to be seen, but they saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put my head down and did my work and didn't complain. So it was almost like that setup. So I called my director. I said, hey, I need your blessing for something. Because, people apply for jobs and won't even talk to the people that they
Right.
serving under.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And she was like, you ready? She was like, you've been ready, but I just think that it's a great time. So after I talked to her, I went on the portal and applied. Man, the CEO for our company had an interview, and they were like, you need to go look at it. Don't just move. And I'm like, look, I'm from Bogalusa. If you can live in Bogalusa, you can live anywhere. Don't challenge my judgment on if this will be good or bad. It's the opportunity that I could use to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know, it just, God made it possible. And it just flowed.
And I'm a firm believer in that if you give enough people what they want, then you'll get what you want by default. And I think your story absolutely illustrates that you did everything with an unselfish mindset, unselfish heart, and everything that you desired just kind of fell in your lap.
I'm telling you, the thing about it is most people find making adjustments or quick adapting situations to be painful. And look, my dad died when I was 9. My mom is a paranoid schizophrenic. Never raised, neither one of them ever raised me a day in their life. So I'm just like, if I can conquer that, I can conquer anything.
Right.
And yes, transitioning to a new state. I'm talking, I'm 8 hours away
Yeah.
from where I was, and I just have this mindset. It's possible. It's possible. So I just took the limits off, and that's kind of how I live every single day. Like, if it's something that's challenging, there's a solution. I look for the solutions versus harping over the problem. Of course, we bring light to what challenges and problems are presented to us, but you don't solve the problem by becoming a part of the problem. You
Right.
solve the problem by looking at the big picture, assessing it, making realistic judgments, and that's what got me here today.
And also, it seems like that you're a woman of faith too.
Oh, I
And
am.
I have learned, oh my God, I have learned that the worst thing that we can do, the worst thing that we can do is think that
Yes.
we have a whole lot of say so in the end result. Once you
Yep.
realize that God got everything under control, man, it makes making those tough decisions a whole lot easier because it's almost like you playing with house money. You really can't make a bad decision because the end outcome to some degree is already predetermined. It's just a matter of doing some move. I think the
Hmm.
only way you can block a blessing is not to move at all. I think if you
That's
move
right.
in any direction, you're gonna end up being where you need to be. But a lot of people miss out on their blessing because they don't move at all.
Let me tell you, people, I hear people say, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. No, God waiting on you. He
Yes, man.
doing his part.
Yeah,
What are you going to do? Faith without works is dead.
yeah,
So that means he gave you something to vision. What are you going to do about it? You
yeah,
trust in him to lead you, but you not moving your feet? Something wrong.
yeah. I always say if God wake you up, He's done His part. Now, what are you gonna
Yes.
do?
Yep.
If
Yep.
success is a team sport, which it is, and God does His part by waking you up, then actually making something happen is your part of being on the team. So
That's
get
right.
out there and do it. You playing with house money.
And then, right now we look at failure as oh my God, I'm never gonna come out of this thing. Oh, okay, you're not because you don't believe you are.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
tell you something. If you don't look at failure as a lesson to see the other side of something, the perspective of it to grow you in the direction that you're supposed to be in, then that's a self-sabotaging thing.
yeah. Any success coach would tell you that mindset is half the battle. And for a
Yes.
long time, when I was in my dark place, because we've all been there, where you question yourself and you question
Hmm.
what the end result's going to be. You don't want to move until you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that if I do this, then this will happen. I've had what I call a poverty or a scarcity mentality,
Yeah.
where you don't want to spend money to invest in yourself because you don't have a lot of this, or you don't want to do that because you feel like if you sacrifice this then it may affect that. But I've done all of that, and it's amazing that most most people, their biggest hindrance is themselves. It's not
Yeah.
their circumstance. It's not their environment. We'll blame it on, I grew up in a bad neighborhood. My parents didn't have a whole lot of money. I didn't go to school. We come up with all these excuses about why we can't do things instead of focusing on the opportunity that we have and making the most out of it.
Definitely. And something that has been challenging for me is believing the entrepreneurial side of things.
Hmm.
So I can think so much for someone else, but I find it so challenging to put those same perspectives and solutions in place for myself, because sometimes we think it's about things. So yeah, we still have that, what they call what, imposter syndrome sometimes, or just thinking, oh, we got to have the people that we know to be on our side to help leverage us. No, it's the people you don't
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. 100%. hundred
Yes.
percent. And but I can tell, and folks, this is our first time actually talking. I've been Facebook friends with her for a while. I liked her energy. Reached out to her as she wanted to do the show, and here we are. But from the conversations and from being her Facebook friend, I can tell that she's a natural people person. She's a natural nurturer. And sometimes nurturers forget that they need to be nurtured too.
Oh,
So I, I have a good friend of mine as a pastor, and I asked him. I say, that when people need help, when they need guidance, they come to you. I say, but who does the pastor go to when he needs help and when he has questions? And he say,
yes.
there's a very small circle of people that I can actually confide in because, people look at the pastor as being subhuman. The pastor can't have problems. The pastor can't, have problems that everyday people have. So that was something I was curious about. Who does the pastor go to when the pastor has problems? Because everybody comes to the pastor with their problems.
Let me tell you. So I have, I want to say now 20 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Four of them are my leadership team. They wear the title of manager, and under them are, they're the team lead to others. But all day long, I'm faced with creating solutions for each team. Um, and at the end of the day, my retail manager will come to me and she'll say, "Well, did someone help you today?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I am the help.
Yeah.
I'm the help. So you're so right. But I do, I have a small circle of friends that I entrust with certain things because some of them don't
Mm-hmm.
understand business. So I have director friends or my regional that I connect to when I just need advice on certain things. And then when it's life challenges, I have a circle for life challenges. But
Right.
we just, you have to be very, very, very intentional and know how to fill your own cup when you're in a leadership role. I am a natural nurturer, and it gets me in trouble a lot
Yeah.
to where sometimes you don't know when to cut off the communication, the
Mm-hmm.
connection. It's like, look, I want to help you, but this is all I can do in this arena of help. If that doesn't help, we'll find someone else
See,
because
see, it's amazing how it's amazing how people can say the same thing in different ways.
mhm.
And you're so elegant in your speaking and you're articulating so well. But there's a philosopher that I have watched on occasion. His name is philosopher Steve Harvey.
Oh, yes.
And Steve said very plainly that everybody that came with you can't go with
Can't
you.
go with you. You're right. Um, that's real personal life for me.
Yeah.
Um, in my, you know how you can have your own personal life challenges outside of business, outside of your role, your title, and there were some hard truths that I had to even embrace to keep the peace that I needed in order to serve um, in my day to day. And some people say, "Oh, you chose career over love, or you chose," and I'm like, "Oh no, you have no idea what I have, you know, dealt with. I worked through those things while showing up here every day. I was still dealing with things on the back end. So, yeah, it,
Oh, you just gave
it,
me a show topic. Oh, you just gave me a nice
it,
show topic.
yeah,
Ooh, how do you choose between professional and love? But we'll talk about that after this one over with. Yeah,
let me
buddy.
come. let me come to that one too.
Yeah, we definitely gonna knock that one out. I like that one, man. So as a director, I know you wear a lot of hats, and just listening to you, I know you don't just stay inside those director shoes. You're not that person who just sits back and does that administrative part and not get in the trenches with the people that you work with. So what does the daily schedule for you as a director look like?
So, as a director, I mean, we have to get there at least by 8. So, I'm a mom. You think of yourself as an individual first. My daughters are school age. I have to make sure that they're ready. And then after they're ready, we transition. When I get inside of that building, I think for the educator first. I think for how do we open the business. So we have equipment that I have to turn on. We have a spa department, we got a cause department. Sometimes I have partners that might get there before me and they're doing their duties to start their day to make their day more smoother. But ultimately, shucks, I'm doing state board regulated stuff. Like we have to have 3 bins of water, one with clean water, one with EPA, which is a cleaning solution, and barbicide, and we have to have soapy clean water. And then we do the towels, making sure the towels are prepared for the guests, for the students. Um, and then I'll go to retail. I do a walkthrough from the back door to the front door. I don't even go into my office until I've just cut on, just made sure everything was already set, down to walking through the bathrooms, making sure tissue was replaced, making sure there's soap in the
She does
dispensers.
everything.
And I have partners that think that way too. So I'm grateful because if I was the only one to think that way, then I'm not the ship not running right.
Right.
You need to have people that already know what the morning process is. Just like I had a new hire on last Wednesday. I saw she was gonna go and get coffee. I said, "Hey, I'm about to do something. I want you to come and see." And I said, in the event you get here earlier than any of your other educators, this is something that we have to do. She was like, sure, sure, I want to see. So I showed her how to fill the water bins and I told her about, flipping the towels. You might have some that we washed overnight, some that were dry overnight. You put the ones that were in the washer in the dryer in about an hour span, they'll be ready. She was like, thank you for showing me that. But day to day, it's literally thinking for the big picture of the business. If we don't have towels, the clients can't get a shampoo and have their hair dried from squeezing out the towel. So I can't just always think that that's the educator's job to do. I was once an educator, so I like thinking for each teammate.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to go before I leave, honestly, before I leave for the day, I prepare for the next day.
Right.
So my calendars for my admissions team, my calendar for my financial aid manager, my calendar for my retail books, I get them to go ahead and write down how many guests we're going to have for the next day. If the appointments were confirmed, if they were not confirmed, we're probably going to have some no shows. If admissions has some white space on their books, what can we do? We try to meet every morning, but sometimes their day, people are there waiting to have an admissions tour. So we have those conversations at 8:30. So from 8 to 8:30, I'm in prep mode. And then 8:30, we have an all team huddle. 8:45 to 9, the students are coming in. We have an all school huddle that happens at about 9:03. Sometimes I make it to huddle to give big, I try to make it at least twice to 3 times a week because we have 3 different schedules that we go by. And after that huddle, we break for the day. The students start doing what their curriculum says. On a good day that I'm not solving problems, I go into the classrooms, watch the educators, and I do an observation. In that observation, I give feedback. If I saw you sitting down, if you're on your phone, did you prep the day before? Because your objective should be on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically just the nitty gritty. And before I leave, I'm having to do the same thing, just in reverse.
Yeah.
Did we close the drawer down? Like Mondays, Tuesdays, we close at 8, but there's a team there that they know what reports to send to finance. And I'm expecting the email. It probably already came through, but my phone is on focus, uh, or do not disturb. But the end of the day, those reports got to come through. I'm walking through to make sure, hey, did I know I replaced that tissue, but sometimes I get scatterbrained. I have a million tabs open. So I just go back through, make sure that the tissue is full, the paper towels are there, just making sure that everything's set. We have tours. Our tuition is it's a pretty penny. So you don't we try to make sure the campus is always tour ready.
Yeah.
So being tour ready is like it needs to look
Yeah.
luxury. We
Yeah.
sell luxury, it needs to look luxury.
Yeah.
But my full day to day is definitely solving problems. In the middle of that, my kids can definitely call and say that something's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No day goes perfectly. There's always going to be an audible somewhere throughout the day.
Yeah. And since I've been there, even in that role, even in this role as director, sometimes I'm having to be another partner. I may have to be admissions manager. Like for last week, these 2 weeks, I'm partnered with my admissions manager. We're tag teaming. I've had to be the retail manager and the director for almost 2 months when I didn't have a retail manager.
Yeah.
I having to be educator coach and the director. And that's going through the game plans that the educators are going to send out like a syllabus for the week. What are the expectations? Did you send it out on time or you sent it the morning of? You can't send it the morning of and expect the students to be prepared. They're not
Right.
prepared. So it's a lot.
So for people who are on, man, look, go ahead, drop your guys' city, drop your state so that we can see who we have on, where you guys are chiming in from. And also, if you have not done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. So one question that I have for you, and this may be a crazy question in the world, but I know like for traditional colleges and universities, they actually have recruiters that go to schools for like career days and things like that to speak to the students about their school and what they do and what they have to offer. So in beauty school, do you guys actually have recruiters that go to school and source kids like that?
My admissions manager is she'll be on site at a high school within the area tomorrow. We host career fairs for our alumni and current students, and we bring salons in. And then we also go out and recruit through high schools. We connect with guidance counselors. Most recently, we even go and we do what we call rituals of renewal, which is hand massage, neck and shoulder massage, scalp massage, facials, and manicures. We did that at an apartment complex. So building the community
Nice.
connection to bring awareness. Yeah, look, you're in Baton Rouge, go connect. I'll call the director. Wherever you think of some kind of collaborative opportunity, the students definitely go out. We bring awareness to our services and admissions. So it's a tag team thing. If I bring light to service, I can also let someone know who's maybe a single parent in a thinking about a career transition to change paths so they can have some freedom. Um, I don't know. It's massively everything is connected to everything.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that saying because when it's typically just the admissions going out, we're able, like tomorrow, we're going to send a student team along with an educator to do a demo to show what it could look like for a high school student becoming a student in our trade school. So
Yeah.
I try not to call it a just a lot of times adults get treated like kids in trade school or you don't find it too much in universities, but I've seen it at Delta College. I've seen it in our institutes. They're adults.
Hmm.
And what we're trying to teach them is on the job training, just like a truck driving school, just like a nursing school or phlebotomy school is hands on. You get theory, but you also get the practicality portion of hands on, and it's not the typical university.
Right.
And when they leave within a year, or like my SD program is 6, 7 months, when they leave within those programs, they're ready for the workforce. Are they fully prepared? No, because it's a mind over matter thing.
Yeah.
But right now, we're big on trying to place the people that come through into, salons within the area, or help them open their own, which is something that I do outside of work. I consult salon owners, and it's it's been a beautiful thing to see people desire that connection of the recruitment process and what we offer in the institute.
So can you in the mentorship or the consultation that you do with salons outside of your campus, can you guys get like partnerships or contracts with them to where they actually use a lot of your retail products inside their salons, or are your products exclusive just to you?
They are exclusive, but we have what we call SDPs, distributing, but they would have to buy in and become an Aveda concept salon, Aveda family salon, or a lifestyle salon, to where one of them offers them the opportunity to carry other brands. And then another one of them offers them the opportunity to just be a sole use of Aveda products. So we have distributors. Actually, the company that I work for is Neil Corporation,
Hmm.
out of um, Hammond, Louisiana.
Okay.
So what happens is they also have an internal salon division where they'll go out and recruit, do the same thing that the institutes do, but they recruit salons to become partners and users of like we have a Veda warehouse where they you can purchase products. Um, but yeah, definitely a lot of people desire. I had an old coworker friend. She um, goodness, Lynn Devison. She has a salon in Baton Rouge,
Okay.
and she became an Aveda salon, concept salon, I believe, and she has products in her salon.
Nice.
She's also an Aveda graduate, but she bought into the brand and collaborated it with her own salon brand, and it's working. It's working for her.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
sweet, man. That's sweet. I'm just envisioning, like community outreach programs with like some of these politicians that may have people who, like you say, looking for career changes, or kids that are in school that have already identified that they don't want to go to a traditional 4-year university or something like
Yeah.
that. So I mean that's excellent.
Yeah, it's been refreshing. My oldest daughter wants to become a dermatologist.
Nice.
So of course, me being mom and a hairdresser, I'm like, you know what? You get out of college, I mean, out of high school, you can go to Aveda for 6 months, become an esthetician, because our estes is skin based. Everything is skin focused. So that would give her leverage for when she goes to college, and she could then work in a wellness facility or a dermatology clinic as an esthetician, so that she can get the experience to grow into dermatology while she's studying to become one. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm
Planning,
all for
man.
trade. I'm all for trade school.
Yeah, planning, man. That planning is everything.
What? I swear by planners. I don't know who or what planner you guys use, but Passion Planner has saved my life. I do know entrepreneurial individuals that I associate with. They create their own planners, but I thrive off of Passion Planner. It gives me affirmations every day. I can mind map, put something in the center that's my focus or my goal, and then work some blocks around it. I'm just a
Yeah.
visual learner. So um, it is the most amazing planner I've ever found. My old educator coach actually put me on to that, and I now have my entire team on it. So
Yeah, that
It's a
structure
lot
that
happening.
structure is everything. Structure and prioritization.
Yes.
Because I know, like for me, my schedule. We talked about it before we got on, man. My schedule is crazy. Like I actually have to put sleep on my schedule, and people
Oh
think that
yeah.
I'm joking when I say that, but there is an entry on my to do list every day that
Yeah.
says sleep, and there are some times that I don't get to that one, but I have to make sure that I prioritize sleep every day. But you know figuring out what's most important,
Right.
what is it that you're going to do that actually gets you the best production, because a lot of people they add busy work to their schedule, but the
Yeah.
busy work doesn't produce anything, doesn't produce any money, doesn't produce any results. There's no duplication
Yeah.
going on there. So all those things I have to do when I figure out exactly how I'm going to structure my schedule, because I've talked to God. We've had this conversation numerous of times, and I've told him that this 24-hour thing, like it's tight,
That's
but
right.
yeah, but I guess he got bigger fish to fry, because he answers a lot of my calls, but he's never gotten back to me on the
So
25th hour deal. So I guess I
it's that one thing about capacity. Um, Everybody doesn't have the mental capacity nor the physical capacity to take on the certain things that a lot of us take on. So it's hard for other people, sometimes ourselves, to understand, why am I doing this? I'm working harder, not smarter, but in return, I mean, the return of investment is amazing.
yeah,
So
I agree.
when I know
I
my
agree.
capacity, I don't trust in myself. I'm just like, Lord, carry me, give me strength.
Lord, I don't know no better. Look out for us, sister.
Yes, right.
So with everything that you have going on right now, I mean, currently everything seems to be phenomenal that you have going on. You seem like you're truly living within your purpose. So what future plans do you have? Like, what is the next step of the evolution that you're kind of putting together now?
I mean, let me clarify something because I never want people to feel like it looks like everything is great, because those challenges that I deal with every day, I still have to come right back and sit with myself and say, did I respond to that right? Was my facial expression okay? I think they're probably mad. So it is not perfect, but I value doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Do I have things that come up against me that could stop me from doing the right thing and go into a nuck if you buck mode? Yes, but before I react, I think about what reactions, the consequence of those reactions. So, y'all, it is not easy. It's definitely my oldest daughter is like my she can tell something happened today, huh? You got quiet. You're really quiet. So it's not easy, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
And if you know that your calling is to do it, then receive it. Ask God to give you strength, because people will try you. People won't like you simply because they don't understand the capacity or the calling, but it's not for them to understand. Just stay in purpose, stay impactful, and remember you're filling your cup by following through with what you're being called to do. Outside of that, um, I know a lot of people are seeing my tagline, Celia, the professional agent. On Instagram, I'm Celia So Professional. But I mentioned my salon consulting clients. I had been doing that for a good moment. And I started a round table called Cosmo Chronicles in Baton Rouge, where we sat down and we talked about burnout.
Mm.
But that led to me desiring to take all of these experiences and use four different pillars: the pillar of character, the pillar of compassion, the pillar of communication, and creativity. So a lot of people think, like you said earlier, that, oh, my talents will just, you know, make me massive money. It can, but it'll also hold you back if your character isn't intact. So
Absolutely.
if you don't understand why you are serving, you'll miss who you need to serve.
Wow.
And I just really take that to heart, that our character, that's who we are as a person, um, our compassion, that's for ourselves first, because ultimately how you treat yourself and what you believe for yourself, it can trickle to the people that you're connected to, your children, your spouse, your family, your friends, your coworkers. And you can't have a transfer of love, of understanding. Now, you can give grace, but you don't have to give too much grace, because then people think they could play with you.
Hmm.
But you have to be compassionate. And then the way we communicate, when I communicate, I try to be very particular. It's so one of my salon consulting clients, she's like, I just type it out for me, because I can't type it out. I want to say it like this. And I'm like, well, no, because you need to think about the big picture. And then if you say this and you say it that way, you're not going to build the relationship that you need to build. So look
And it
at
won't
both
feel
sides.
authentic.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that that communication, our body language, how we dress, how we, and another thing, texting and emailing does not have a tone. So do not email or text like you talk. Think about it in a more professional way, and how it can give off a neutral ground versus a emotional ground, because you don't know what people have dealt with throughout the day,
Yeah.
and their perception too, because it's not just our delivery. Sometimes a person can be, they can perceive that something is off just because they didn't get the response that they wanted. So it's a two-way street. And then with that creativity, however you've been blessed to have a talent, so it's your gifts mixed with your talents, and those four pillars branching into the professional development of helping people communicate effectively, diving into customer service training. The ultimate goal is to do it for corporations. So yeah.
So as we conclude, man, I got a question for you.
Hmm.
When's the book?
So look, I've been a part of one, um I've been a part of one co-author project that I just joined, and it was called Dear Young Woman, and I told about the love provision, my life story of, while we look for love in all the wrong places, um, we ultimately have the love foundation when we're born. We just don't see it as such, and we place blame on circumstances or a parent's issues. And then I did a co-author project personally where other women joined my book about Cosmo Chronicles, the business behind beauty. And it is time for me to do a solo project. I know, listen, the Lord has been like really heavy on me about it, but
We did a
um,
few chapters tonight. So I'm gonna send you this recording, and you can kind of do your layout from a few of the things we talked about tonight. I mean, you know,
yeah,
sometimes it's really good to. Sometimes these interviews can be therapeutic
yeah,
because you're talking to me about you, but when you watch it again and you hear yourself
yeah,
speak about you, you hear how eloquently you talk about you. It's gonna give you another layer of confidence to say, you know something, I am that chick. Sometimes it's
man.
good to hear you talk about you.
You know what? I've been one of those people that, you know how you don't receive. I'm a giver. So I don't know how to receive. And I'm learning the more, like, if someone compliments me, I'm like, yeah, your shirt is nice, or you know, your hair is nice, and I'm never, and I say thank you, but I don't. I think religion has taught us to not. Um, of course, we don't boast in who we are, who we're created to be, but that humble factor, we almost self sabotage because of the things we learned through tradition that, oh, that was nothing. Like you talking about a book. I've never really just marketed in that manner. And sometimes I fuss at myself because I'm just like, you wrote a book, girl.
Well, yeah,
I got a I
you in
got a
my
whole
circle. You in my
song.
circle now, though. I am accountability on overload. I'm gonna remind you of it. I'm gonna
Dude,
remind you of it.
I have a song on iTunes and I legit, so my natural gift or calling is to probably be a psalmist. People talk about me from my younger years. They probably be, oh, she's supposed to be an evangelist.
See, you
And I'm just
motivating
like,
somebody right now. Catherine Matthews say, "Can you post the link to the planner?"
I sure can. Where do I do that, in the chat?
You can put it in the chat, and what I'll do is at the conclusion of the live stream, I'll put it in the description. So she's gonna put it in the chat, and then I'll put it in the description at the end. So when you guys go back and watch the replay, then I'll make a special post there for the planner that she uses, that she mentioned in the live stream.
Listen, I think this is the I think that's the link, but it could be. I can go back and update it, but it's called Passion Planner.
Okay.
Um, I use, so if you're in education, of course, the fiscal year is July through June, but and you get the academic one. But I use both because I have classes that start every 10 weeks and every 13 weeks and every 29 weeks. So I try to use academic and the annual. Um, but just for a yearly day to day, you want to get the weekly planner or the daily planner in the annual or academic. And I like the larger print because I like journaling. So, and it allows you to do that too. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Man, look, like, we could talk forever. We've been on a little bit over an hour. I know you have had a full day today and have a full day on tomorrow. So I would definitely, honor your time and go ahead and end this conversation. But before we end, what would you say to a person? Um, Maybe not even trying to start their own business or something like that, but just somebody that feels that what they're doing right now is not where they truly need to be. Like they know that there's a larger calling on their life and they're just waiting for a sign, or they're waiting on, to become motivated to actually make that leap of faith. What would you tell that person who's listening tonight that's looking for a sign to do better and feel that they deserve better?
I would tell them that motivation is mediocre. You
Mm,
will never stay motivated. There's always going to be something that comes up against you, especially when you're operating in purpose. So you're going to feel defeated a lot, but at the same token, you have to always focus on your why. That means I have the gift of healing, and I know that. So my biggest challenge is that my heart is always compromised, or I'm always in compromising situations where I want to lash out. So I have to be careful of my delivery because I'm sent to heal people and not hurt them. And sometimes you may hurt people, but that hurt isn't intentional. It's
right.
just that you can't take that in. You do your part, but something else I always go back to: think of the service that you would desire, think of the compassion that you would desire, and then you give that back. that should be your initial thing. You never want to initiate on a level of greed, but in a
Mm,
form that it fills your cup, and not in what is it, complacency and contentment.
mm-hmm,
It's two different things, but a lot of people like to make it, one.
mm-hmm.
I, you know, I can be content, but I won't be complacent. And I would also tell someone that there's a process to progress. Like, you cannot think that it's going to happen overnight. I did for a long time. Like, it's not happening for me. It's not happening. After applying for a few director jobs, the craziest thing, as soon as I accepted the offer to Corpus, New Orleans came open,
Mm-hmm.
Baton Rouge came open, but I needed to be here
Yeah.
because it's teaching me something more. There was an already set foundation because I had just come from Baton Rouge location. That system was solid between my director, myself, the team. It was solid. But when you embrace other locations, you're not going into a perfect situation.
Right.
You're going to brace some more challenges. So you have to brace yourself and look at it as another lesson to learn. Everything is another lesson. So you can move 1,000 miles. You're still going to have challenges. You just have to look at it like, what am I going to learn here? And then it's going to help you because you're going to definitely want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's another stepping stone. So maybe in about 3 to 5 years, I might decide, hey, if there's a regional thing available. But at the end of the day, focus on today, be present in the moment, and is practice excellence if you can.
I'm speaking LA as the next step. You said that was something that was on your heart from the beginning. Uh so far everything that you've dreamed of and everything that you've planned has manifested itself. So why should it stop now? And I think that, you may have never thought about it that way, but there probably going to be a level of contentment if you would have been in Baton Rouge because you were surrounded by people that you know. When you go
Yeah,
out there, it's a totally new environment. There's no infrastructure set up for you. You don't know anybody. So
at all.
yeah, so a lot of times that peace that we have when we're to ourselves, it gives you an
Hmm.
opportunity to actually learn yourself. And I made a post either on my Facebook group or my Facebook thread today where I asked a question, and one of the responses was that it's absolutely impossible for you to learn someone else until you learn yourself.
That's right.
And right now we live in a society where media and peer pressure have
Yes.
programmed all of us to be carbon copies of other people, and very few
Oh my
people
God.
actually know who they really are.
This,
I'm preaching to myself right now. A lot of people really don't know who they are. So I would tell people this, and it's the hardest assignment. It sounds easy, but it's really a very difficult assignment. The assignment that I'm giving everybody that's watching is that if you have a desire to be successful, start with learning yourself.
oh my goodness.
And that sounds so easy. It sounds so simple. But if you get on a real base root level of it, you'll find out that you really don't know as much about yourself as you think you do. And here's how I realized that I didn't. I talked to a friend of mine a few months ago, and they know how messed up my mind is. I'm all over the place.
I am
So
sometimes.
yeah, so and I'm a person who I compromise for everybody else. I
Mm,
feel that I sacrifice a lot because I truly feel that my purpose on earth has nothing to do with me, and I'm here to show other people the way, and to take care of some people that kind of fell off. Crazy, but I
Yeah.
really believe that. So somebody asked me the other day, say, look, if I gave you $1 million right now to do something for yourself, what would you do? And you can't answer it that you would do anything for anybody else. Because the
Wow.
first thing I thought about was I would take my kids on vacation, but that doesn't work because that's
It's for
doing something
them.
for somebody else. My
Hmm.
second answer was I would take care of the people who took care of me to show them how much I appreciate them. I can't use that because that's somebody else. So what I
Right.
realized was that at the end of the day, I'm 43 years old, and at 43, I am just beginning to learn what I like and what I don't like.
Hmm.
Because society has told me forever that you're supposed to like this, you're supposed to like that. So I'm learning now that the rest of my journey, however long God keeps me here, is going to be
Yeah.
for me to actually have some private time with myself and to actually learn who I am. And hopefully, I'll find a greater sense of satisfaction, either a greater sense of achievement once I
Yeah.
can honestly say that when I look in the mirror, the person that looks back at me is somebody that I can actually identify with.
Right. Right. That's
So
a
look,
beautiful thing.
yeah, it's a journey. Sometimes it hurts
Hmm.
because I consider myself to be a pretty smart guy. I'm certified nerd. That's one of my hashtags. But sometimes it hurts to realize that all the things that you've learned in academia, all
Hmm.
the formulas and the philosophies that you have that people think are so profound, that the one thing that you've had the most experience with all your life is the one thing that you have yet to master, and that's identifying who you are.
That's right. And
Yeah.
something that I've grasped is gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude just for breath, for being able to see, for being able to hear. If I have those things that can keep me in purpose, I'm I'm grateful. And
Yeah.
then being successful in the wrong assignment is my biggest fear.
Ooh.
My pastor, shout out to Pastor Mark Ellis. He preached that one Sunday, and man, it hit me to my core because we want to stay in isolation and be selfish sometimes when people hurt us, and it causes us to sulk back and sink into a space where we don't want to give of our gifts, of our times, of our talent. We live in doubt, we live in fear, and it causes us to be successful in the wrong assignment. And
I'm finna write that one down.
but I
That's
don't. That's
that's
my
heavy.
biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. And while we have many assignments, that's the assignment of being a parent. Well, first an individual, but the assignment of being a parent, the assignment of being a partner, the assignment of being um, a, a conduit for other people.
Ooh, that
And if we don't know ourselves, like you said, we're going to be successful in the wrong assignment. So,
that is heavy. That's heavy. I gotta
I'm
write
just
that down. If
grateful.
you're successful in the wrong assignment, that is so heavy. Got it.
It truly changed my mindset. Like, is this gonna benefit me and is it gonna benefit other people? Because we're here to edify and also embrace who we are to edify others. So yeah,
God, that's heavy. You saved the bomb for last, man. Successful in the wrong assignment. So are you really successful?
let me tell you, people
Jesus
want
Christ.
everything in life to be a cakewalk. It's not gonna be a cakewalk. You're gonna be going through
Mm.
separations with people and being purposeful. You're gonna be, being ridiculed by people and being purposeful. You're gonna have a challenge, but you got to see the solution with it. That's the only way we can leverage to a better space. That's what's wrong with the younger generation right now, but that's for another day. Mhm.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to leave that one because I promise you, we'll talk a whole nother hour about
Yeah,
being
same.
successful in the wrong assignment. Oh man, you don't even have any idea how that one hit me.
Man.
Being successful in the wrong assignment. Mm,
Yeah,
mm, mm.
I
You know,
love
the
poems.
first thing I thought about, which I mean, you've given me so many topics that I want to discuss about people who are in relationships or in marriages that, they're successful aesthetically, but they're probably in the wrong assignment, not equally yoked with somebody that, I know the term is overused now, but with somebody that's not bringing enough to the table or bringing anything to the table for that word. So I'm gonna leave that one alone because that successful in the wrong assignment. That is, boy, that's solid. I don't hear a whole lot that baffled me like that one, but that was a timely gem there. Mm,
It changed my life.
mm.
It changed my life.
It may have just messed up my night. I can't go to sleep. I can't go to sleep with that on my mind now. So look, man, I've enjoyed it. It's been an
Same here.
absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Like I tell people who we have these conversations with, man, you are now a part of my network. You're a part of my circle. If there's anything that I can do to assist you, either personally or professionally, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm gonna add you to a few groups that I have on Facebook where we have
Okay.
some conversations like these. Some of them are not, some of them are not quite as ethically correct as these things, but some of the conversations that we have, I learned from them, even though it's not probably not the most astute of conversations, but at the end of the day, it's still a learning experience. You learn how people think, and it's
Right.
amazing how two people can see the same thing or they can hear the same information and have two totally different perspectives on it. So, you know, the geek in me is just fascinated with the mind. I should have been a psychologist or a philosopher or something, but I'm just fascinated about how the mind works and how, our experiences shape the way that we think.
Yeah.
Once I add
This
you to the group, you'll see what I'm talking about. Don't judge me and don't judge my people, but you're
No,
gonna
I
see.
ain't no judge zone. Let me tell you something. I can be the most down. I'm very down to earth. I really am. I think when I show up, I take everything so seriously because I don't want to create a misconception or something sometimes. But I am so down to earth. I love the craziest music.
Well, I saw you
And
on Facebook. I went through your profile page. I saw you on Facebook busting your move.
I danced in high school, so I love it. You know what I mean? I love music, I love dancing, and I'm very down to earth. So that group ain't gonna bother me.
So
Yes.
look, I appreciate you again. For those of you who had an opportunity to join us tonight, I definitely appreciate you. Those of you who commented in the live stream, I appreciate you all. Those of you who are on but have not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Shout out to the new people who just subscribed during this live stream. And yeah, we have a show planned for Thursday. There's going to be show number one of our marriage and relationship series. So, whether you
Wow.
are married, whether you are single, whether you are dating, we're going to have a series of topics throughout the rest of this year under this marriage and relationship series where we're going to deep dive into the philosophies of marriage and the philosophies of successful relationships. Do we really, really understand what we want? Why are why something may just come through the screen when I say this word? Why are women afraid of the word submission?
I'm not.
Why in this new culture do women say they don't need a man? Anything that you reject or anything that you have a negative connotation with, you'll never obtain. So we're gonna do panel discussions, and we're gonna do something that's probably that you guys have probably never seen before. We're gonna do a male panel talking about relationships and marriages.
Wow.
Some of my boys. We're gonna have a deep dive into what men think about when it comes to relationships and marriages, about why some of you absolutely gorgeous sisters are single as French toast and y'all can't figure it out. About some of the things that you do that you don't even think about that
Mhm.
men see it and what we see. So hopefully we can learn from the ladies and the ladies will learn from the men. And if you all have any show topic that you would like to hear us discuss, then feel free to hit me up, man. We're open to discussing a little bit of everything with the sole intent of having a conversation, making it an elevated conversation, and just seeing things from different perspectives. So, once again, guys, I appreciate you all for joining us tonight. Until we see you all again, have an absolutely phenomenal night.
Thank you.